Tonight, the Caribbean Carnival kicks off in style with the King and Queen Showcase.
It's great. It's a whole bunch of energy and different emotions, and you just feel like a different person.
The festival's kickoff, always something to celebrate, but an announcement tonight just makes it that much sweeter. We'll explain. Plus,
here's the love for the bodies of women of color. Where is the celebration?
pushing the envelope at the biggest party in Toronto, why one woman came up with the idea to have topless women march in the parade. And NBA champion Serge Ibaka used to go hungry. Now he's giving back in Regent Park. Good evening, I'm Mike Wise. It's known to be one of the grandest and most spectacular shows of the Toronto Caribbean Carnival, the King and Queen Showcase. And the performers may have an extra spring in their steps tonight with the announcement Carnival organizers are getting some extra funding. Adrian Chung joins us now live from Lamport Stadium. I can hear the music behind you. Adrian, fill us in on what's happening there tonight.
Absolutely, Mike. The show is still very much going on, and I'm actually going to step out of frame a little bit so you can see and hear the energy of the show for a little bit. Now, certainly all of the costume creators all want that title. They want to be named King and Queen. But the biggest news of the night has actually been about funding. The federal government announcing before the show that they will donate $350,000 to the Caribbean Carnival, and certainly that put everyone in a very good mood tonight. What does the carnival mean to you, especially since you've been doing it for most of your life?
Unity. I would say unity. I personally like Caravana time because it brings all the islands together. It brings me and my family together, me and my best friends together. And it's just a time where we all get to learn and different things and really get to experience something that we all enjoy and have in common.
It's a big family, but like every other family, they got a lot of pulling and tugging. It never runs smooth, but that's part of the fun, you know? He's looking to see how you're coming to be better than you, and you doing the same, you know what I mean?
And ongoing contributions are to Canada, and that is why I'm so proud.
So the federal government over the years have been the one that has given less to the festival, and they're stepping it up a bit right now through their tourism, multicultural, the heritage project. So they're literally trying to see if they can do a lot more.
Distort the senses of one's perception of reality. Mr. Seeley, from the Epic Carnival, portraying King of the Perception.
So this, of course, is the last performance of the night. Night one about to end here. They haven't yet named the King and Queen of the Carnival yet. We will stay for that, but of course there are festivities heading into the weekend, festivities tomorrow, and of course the Grand Parade on Saturday. Mike?
A big weekend of some incredible events. Thanks a lot, Adrian. Of course, the parade Adrian was talking about is known for its revealing costumes worn by many of its participants. But this Saturday, some masqueraders will be taking that tradition a step further. For the first time, some will be topless, trying to start a public conversation about the way women view their bodies. Kel DeYoon has the details, and a warning, this story does contain nudity.
Yvonne Stanley has taken part in the Caribbean Carnival since she was a kid.
I played mass every year and I loved it.
But this year, she's pushing the envelope. She came up with the idea to have topless women march in the parade. Stanley is a mixed-race Jamaican. She says she has long noticed a lack of positive portrayals of nude women of color.
Where's the love for the bodies of women of color? Where is the celebration?
She says 4 women will march with their chests covered in body paint. They will also have diverse body types, including one woman who has had a mastectomy. All 4 will be featured in the project Stanley is currently working on called The Boob Book.
The boob book originated when I realized I had a toxic relationship with my own breasts. After conversations with friends, I realized that almost all my girlfriends had issues with their own breasts.
Okay, cool. Ariam Ukbe grew up ashamed of her chest.
I have large breasts, and my mom blessed me with them, but I never saw them as a blessing. I saw them as a curse.
It took time, but she's grown to love her body. On Saturday, she will be one of the 4 women marching topless.
I'm embracing myself, I'm loving myself, and I get to do that with other women, so that's even more amazing.
Venom Carnival Band is sponsoring the 4 women and will be providing them with 2 security guards. The women will also have bandanas that they can use to conceal their faces if they do feel uncomfortable. A COO of the carnival, Chris Alexander, doesn't think safety and security will be a particular issue.
If you think about it, topless and something like this big, there's no very little difference if you think about what they wear during the carnival.
It really comes down to the nipple.
Yeah, so the nipple seems to come across as very offensive to some people. I was even concerned about mentioning the word nipple on news today.
She hopes those attending the parade will be inspired to have more open conversations about the female body. Though it has been legal since 1996 for women to go topless in public, after Gwen Jacob was charged for walking topless down a street in Guelph.
My intent is not to offend anybody, but it's to start conversations that move towards healing and happier lives.
Ukbe says she wants to stir the pot.
Without controversy, nothing really happens, or it's not being taken seriously. So I hope so. I hope there's controversy.
Stanley herself will not be marching topless. She says that she believes she needs to be the messenger instead of a participant in order to have her message heard. Kelda Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
It was a beautiful day to head to the beach, but if you're planning to go to Sandbanks for the holiday weekend, you might want to have a backup plan or be prepared to get there early or wait for your spot in the sun. High water levels on Lake Ontario means there's a lot less beach to go around, even fewer parking spots. That's not stopping the crowds. Park staff have had to block off access altogether at points. So if you do nab a spot on the sand, be prepared to be a little closer to your neighbor than you might be used to. Jeff Harrington's here with his first look at the forecast. And just a word of caution, if you're getting used to sleeping with the bedroom window open, you might be regretting that around 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, last night was cool, Mike. Tonight, even cooler. So we'll go through all those details. But that being said, not a bad night to pop open that window. Also a sunny stretch of weather ahead, and we'll time out when our next shot at rain will be. Today, made it up to 25. That is slightly below average. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. We should be closer to 27. Yeah, we were at 25, and that was last night's low, 16. So pretty average. But again, tonight, cooler. I'll show you that in a sec. Overnight, really hard-pressed to find a cloud into the sky. That will continue for Friday morning right through to the afternoon and the evening. Again, all because we're under this area of high pressure, deflecting systems to the north of us and also to the south of us. So breaking it down now by the numbers. Oh, there we go, 14 degrees. Clear sky, north wind. And Mike, tomorrow we're up to a high of 28, feeling about 30. Your holiday long weekend forecast coming up.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Jeff.
Talk to you in a bit.
A community is grieving after police found a 16-year-old boy shot to death in a stairwell overnight in a community housing building near Jane and the 401. And while residents search for answers, investigators are trying to piece together who's behind the violence. Angelina King has more.
I lost my little brother today. I grew up with him. I grew up the sweetest kid. I grew up with that kid. Nah.
The anger, heartbreak, and devastation is raw. Friends and family have identified 16-year-old Hanid Abduhali as the victim of an overnight shooting at a Toronto community housing building in North York. Police found him shot to death in the stairwell of his own building. His mother says she heard the shots. She called her son's cell phone. There was no answer. Abduhali's friend says he was on his way home from the building just meters away where he was playing video games. Residents of the building say security isn't up to par and that it's easy for anyone to get into the buildings.
Like, we need more people around this area to make people start to feel safe around here. People don't even want to come outside.
In a statement, Toronto Community Housing says it's partnering with the city, police, and other agencies to host a safety meeting for all residents of the Jane Falstaff community. It says the meeting will be an opportunity for tenants to share their concerns about safety and provide input into a community safety plan. Toronto Community Housing says that some surveillance video of the suspects was captured. That has been turned over to police. Officers are still looking for 3 male suspects they believe fled in a dark-colored Honda and are asking anybody with information to contact them. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Toronto police are asking for help after 6 shootings in the Lawrence Heights area. These have all taken place in the last 2.5 weeks. Today, police releasing video of 3 of the shootings, one of them on Pengarth Court, another near Lawrence and Varma, and then just off of Ranney and Varma. Let's start with the Pengarth Court location. This footage taken July 15th. You can see a silver SUV pull up and stop. That's when 2 suspects get out of the car and fire several shots in the victim's direction. Now, this security video was taken in the early hours of July 27th at Lawrence and Varna. Suspects in a white-colored SUV fired multiple shots as they were driving. You can see the car making a 3-point turn behind those trees. And just 3 days later, officers responded to another shooting in the area of Ranney and Varna. A dark-colored truck started to follow another car. The suspect's car pulled up beside them, and started shooting. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. Now, a bat in Brampton tested positive for rabies, marking the first confirmed case of the viral disease in Peel this year. Public health officials are reminding residents to stay vigilant around wild animals, but say the transmission of rabies virus from bats to human is rare. The warning comes after a BC man died last month after coming into contact with a rabid bat on Vancouver Island. Health officials recommend that anyone who touches a bat should see a doctor immediately.
Hello everyone, this is Serge Ibaka, aka Mafouz Chef.
Well, he's the NBA champion who cooks on his own YouTube channel. Coming up, how Serge Ibaka is giving back in Regent Park in his own special way.
And I lost my mom when I was 7, so at some point in my life, having food, it was like a big deal for me because it was not every day I have food, So now, thank God I have the opportunity, and I would like to, to give back to the others,
Your local GO train station might soon have a corporate sponsor. The Ontario government wants to look at selling naming rights. So could Port Credit become the MasterCard station? Might we see the MAC Cosmetics Rouge Hill station? Well, the province is officially putting the feelers out, gauging interest in buying the name rights to GO stations, parking lots, even washrooms. The idea is to raise more money for transit without having to raise fares. We asked some commuters what they thought.
Names do carry a lot of weight. It's just like symbolism, but no, I personally don't really care.
I would imagine Google might want to buy the station at Waterloo because they have a head office there.
It would make it more confusing when people are asking for directions and stuff.
Other transit systems have tried this. There's a station in Philadelphia named after a nuclear power company, and Madrid once sold an entire transit line's naming rights to telecom giant Vodafone for about 3 million euros. The Transportation Ministry says it will conduct a thorough approval process before any naming rights get sold. Serge Ibaka might love food just as much as he loves basketball. The Raptors star made a special guest appearance at the weekly Taste of Regent Park event last night. Ibaka has partnered with the Regent Park Community Food Center to provide thousands of free meals to the community. Talia Ricci spoke to the Raptor before he served up some jerk chicken to the neighborhood.
All right, Serge Ibaka, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, before we start, I just want to even out the playing field a little bit. So,
yeah, that's better.
This feels a little better. I feel a little more authoritative. We're here at the Regent Park Community Food Center. Why did you want to partner with this specific Toronto organization?
One of the first things, I wanted to partner with them is because the way they work, and the food they serve for kids, it's very good, and the service is very good. So I think that's what's important because the kids, they need healthy food. And since I love food and I'm a chef too, it was very important for me.
Many people know about your love of food through your YouTube channel.
Hello everyone, this is Serge Ibaka, aka my food chef.
But you're also very passionate about everyone having access to good food. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's because from my past, my experience, and where I come from, and I lost my mom when I was 7, so at some point in my life, having food, it was like a big deal for me because it was not every day. It was not every day I have food, So now, thank God, I have the opportunity, and I would like to, to give back to the others,
What are your hopes as far as what will come out of this partnership? What do you want to see?
One of the first thing, the most important thing, I always try to see smiles in the kids' face, So right now, and then we have an event right now. We're gonna go share food now for the kids, and then spend time with them. And to me, it's the most important than anything.
My mom told me that, did you know that Serge Ibaka is coming? And I'm like, wow, what a surprise.
What was it like when Serge served you your food?
I was like nervous.
And when you have a day like today where you're out in the community in Toronto and you're seeing kids smile and you're talking to them and you're serving food, what are some of the feelings that you have?
When I think about power, it's not about having money. It's about having beautiful cars or other things. To me, when I think about power, is about changing people's lives, changing people's moods, kids, you make them smile. So to me, it's a blessing to have this power.
He knows about food and security from a really personal place. So it means that he kind of gets what we're doing here in Regent Park, and it means that it makes it a little bit more meaningful for us.
I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
How hungry are you?
I'm always hungry. I'm a food chef.
Me too. High five. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us. I appreciate it.
Well, the 2019 Canadian Little League Championship kicked off today in Ancaster. 2 Ontario teams are in the running. The winner will represent Canada at the Little League World Series. We'll bring you all the action after the break.
The weather update is brought to you by Train Extreme Conditions Testing. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
The 2019 Canadian Little League Championship is officially underway, taking place in Ancaster. You can stream most matches on CBC Gem and on CBC Sports. Matt Cullen has your Day 1 highlights.
It was a great hot day of baseball here in Ancaster. 7 Little League teams are here from across the country. 2 of them are from Ontario, and we'll start with the Ontario champions. They're from the Ottawa West Little League, and then of course there's the Ancaster Little League, the hosts as well. But Ottawa West, they were in a tight game earlier on today against Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, our champions from Atlantic Canada. And if it wasn't for the great pitching of Will Watson, it would have been tricky for Ontario. He pitched 3 1/3 innings and got 7 strikeouts, and Ontario hung on for a 4-2 win. So Team Ontario getting off to a great start. Our other winners on the day, Coquitlam beat Ancaster, and also Mirabel won their game as well. So there's a look at our early standings. Join us tomorrow as one of the Ontario teams will be in action. That's Ancaster. They'll be taking on the Prairies in our game starting at 5 p.m. Of course, you can stream all of it on cbcsports.ca. Matt Cullen, CBC Sports, Ancaster.
And in the big leagues, the Blue Jays in Baltimore tonight, Vlad Guerrero Jr. on a bit of a streak. 3rd inning, he sends the first pitch he sees over the wall in straightaway center field, a 2-run home run. Let's go to the 6th inning, 2 on for Danny Jensen, who hits a fastball over the wall in the left. Jays up 7-1. And Vladdy, well, he puts the game well out of reach in the 8th with his 2nd home run of the night, 450 feet. He finished with 4 RBIs as the Jays smacked the Orioles 11-2. And the misery is over for Argo fans at BMO Field tonight. It didn't start out well, though. Winnipeg's Andrew Harris, the league's leading rusher, goes for a 56-yard marathon TD to open up the game in the first quarter. Argos were down by 20 at one point before they climbed back. It comes down to the final drive. The Argos get it to 17. McLeod Bethel-Thompson hits S.J. Green there in the end zone. After making the extra point, they take the lead for the first time in the game, 28-7, and win their first game of the season. Jeff Harrington's here with his extended forecast. It's a very busy holiday weekend, and it looks like it's going to be great.
Maybe a little hiccup in there on Saturday, Mike.
Okay.
We'll talk about that coming up. But by and large, yes, you're right. So let's take you to tomorrow, Friday. Look at this. Really not even a cloud to be found out there all day. Check this activity out toward the north. Not going to impact us because we are under high pressure. But, Mike, here's what I was talking about. And, of course, on Saturday with Carnival, this is toward the afternoon. I do think that there's a better shot of some rain as you head north of the city, so toward cottage country. But I think it's going to break apart as it starts to sink toward the GTA. So we will introduce more cloud cover, but I don't think the GTA will see any rain. But that's something I wanted to put on your radar. Better shot for rain, I think, comes late Monday into Tuesday. And really, Tuesday, it's pretty much going to rain all day, a gloomy day. We haven't had one of those for a while. All those details coming up in your 5-day. Did want to talk about the jet stream as well. So today we had a dip in it. That allows for cooler air from the north to filter in. Cooler nights, cooler days, both below average. Now, by tomorrow, we're going to see a shift. It's going to lift up. We tap into more southerly air. That bumps up our temperature just a bit. We'll dial it up even a bit more on Saturday, and the humidex as well. Just a bit, but that's a few days from now, so we'll go over those details. Tonight, 14 degrees. Look at some of these lows. 12 for Sarnia. Tomorrow, 29 with a humidex of 31, taking you around the Golden Horseshoe right now. Toward the east end, 12 degrees for Oshawa. You know, Kitchener, 10 degrees this morning. So, Mike, we were talking about it. The window may be in for a rude awakening at 4 a.m. with temperatures like these. St. Catharines at 13, and tomorrow we're talking wall-to-wall sunshine on tap. Really, 28 right across the board with a slight humidex once again of 30 degrees. A great way to kickstart the holiday long weekend. So there's Saturday. We were just chatting about it. I put a 20% probability of precipitation. We'll definitely introduce more cloud cover. Sunday's looking beautiful. And there we go, Mike. On Monday, we'll dial up the humidity just a bit. Rain moves in late Monday into Tuesday, but it's looking like rain all day on Tuesday. It's been a while since we've seen one of those days.
Certainly has an all rain out day, but at least that's after the long
Yes,
weekend.
for sure.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Sure thing.
Remember a few years ago when the internet was divided over whether this dress was blue or gold? Well, there's a similar dispute taking place over a math equation. Our colleagues at CBC Kids noticed a disagreement about this equation, 8 divided by 2 times parentheses 2 plus 2. I know it's almost 11:30, but think back to your orders of operation. Most people agree you do the parentheses first, as in parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So you get 4 if you do that. That's where it gets tricky. If you solve left to right, you get one answer, but if you were taught to multiply first, you get another, and that's what's dividing people online. Many insisting the correct answer is 1, others insisting the correct answer is 16. Apparently, it all comes down to how your math teacher taught you. You can read about the debate on our website. I know, even though it's 11:29. That's our show for tonight. Thanks for watching. I want to leave you some more of the sights and sounds of the King and Queen Festival kicking off the Caribbean Festival tonight. Good night.